Okay, I think we are set. Yes, we are set to record this is going to be the first time I'm going live, and I don't know if this is going to be join me on this, but it doesn't matter. I just kind of wanted to check this out. I'm doing it very, very casual. I'm not doing it with all of the visual equipment that I record the podcast with. I just wanted to do like regular lazy daisy kind of recording. 90 Day, we're going to be talking about 90 Day Fiancé Happily Ever After. So if you have not seen this week's episode, there may be a few spoilers in it, but if you have seen it, we're going to discuss it, and I'm excited to discuss it because it was a good one. It was a good one this week. I'm like obsessed with this show. I know we have, you know, obviously on the podcast Tender Love and Care, we record and cover 90 Day Fiancé Happily Ever After, but that's ended now. So next week is going to be 90 Day Fiancé, the original of the franchise. And we have seen some clips online of the people that's going to be on it. And I have no idea what it's going to be like, but it does look promising because for once we're getting a new show in the franchise that isn't full of people we've already seen before, because it just gets so exhausting seeing the same people like Angela, Big Ed and all of that. But this time it's going to be fresh, which is going to be great. So I am going to have a sip of my martini that I made. Cheers guys, chin chin. That's nice. That is a good martini, ice cold. Hello, whoever just joined. I'm about to record the podcast and I am going to be talking about 90 Day Fiancé Happily. No, I'm going to be recording 90 Day Fiancé The Other Way, which is going to be really exciting. All right, so let's get into this. I'm going to start recording. Okay. I'm just reading off this. This is literally the first time I've ever done a live on YouTube, so I'm just trying to figure out what's going on here. Okay, all right. Seems straightforward. If people join, fabulous. If they don't, and I'm just talking to myself in my kitchen, then that's fine as well. Okay, let me get everything up here. So I have my notes, I have the show structure. We're just gonna get into it, make sure I have the right show up, because I always have like, hello. I am just about to start to record my podcast covering 90 Day Fiancé The Other Way. So I don't know if you're a fan of the show, but we're going to get in, we're going to record. Hello, Smart Killer. Smart Killer Samir and Rafiq Ahmed. Hello, thank you for joining. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Who else have we got there? Harry. Hi, Harry. Thank you for the compliment about the dress. That's really nice. Terry, hello. Oh, so nice. So many compliments. I'm coming on here just to, I'm high as hell here. I'm from Ireland. I love that. Who have we got? It's Finton Casey. Well, Finton, we're going to be talking about on the podcast someone, a couple and a guy that's from Drogheda, just outside Dublin. So I would love some information if you have anything about Drogheda. And who have we got? We've got Vito from Brazil. Hello. Shrikant, which country? I'm English, and I'm currently recording I'm in Los Angeles right now. So it is 9 o'clock in Los Angeles, California right now. 90 Days of what? So I have a podcast, Tender Love and Care podcast, and I review TLC shows. So the show that I record is 90 Day Fiancé, and there's like 90 Day Fiancé UK. I love your accent, Claude. Thank you so much, guys. This is so nice. Hello. Who else have we got here? We've got Arbind, Claude, Mohammed. Hello, Harry. I'm in England. It's 5:08. Yeah, it is early, Harry. It is. Thank you for joining. I like that a lot. Don, you're so kind. Thank you. Look at this. This is Matt C. Hi, Matt. Hello, MD. Hello, Bandeli. De boys. Nicholas, does that cross on your neck hold any significance? You have a good eye. So this is actually it does. It was given to me by somebody very, very special in my family when I think I was probably around 11 or something, and I found it recently. I'm doing this huge clear out of my house here, and I found it recently, so I started wearing it. And then this necklace, if you can see, my friend gave this to me for my last birthday, and it's the raven, and it says nevermore. And nevermore is, and the raven, obviously the association is Edgar Allan Poe, who's one of my favorite authors. Let me see, you're in Malaysia. Oh, how cool. Okay, what else we got here? Gulab, I love you. Thank you, I love you too. Chips or crisps? Oh, obviously crisps, always crisps. Drogheda is in County Louth, next to County Dublin. Okay, quiet town up until the last 10 years or so, where it all kicked off over a feud. 17-year-old was dismembered like in Narcos. Sorry, what? And also quote the Raven. I love that I just saw that there. I need to have a sip of my martini right now. What the hell? Really? Okay, I feel like you need to come on the podcast with me so I can discuss that more, because that is insane. Jack, hi Jack. Best angle on YouTube. Oh, no, I think you're probably being sarcastic. Like, this is my first live I've ever done, and I don't really know how to do it. So, Claudia in Chicago. Oh, nice. Okay, so Matt's in Chicago, of my lost love, Lenore. Oh, Lenore. We could talk Edgar Allan Poe like all night, but I am going to be talking about the podcast. That story about Drogheda is insane. Wow, this sleepy town in Ireland had crazy. The kid's name was Key Moridi Woods. His head was left. What? Oh, I'm definitely going to be looking into that. And then someone's from San Diego. Hi, whereabouts in San Diego? I go to San Diego quite a lot. I want to know whereabouts, just because I'm nosy. People go missing in the island I live on. Really, Don? Where? That happens in Chicago every day. Love from West Bengal. Oh, hello, Sunny. Hi. All right. Let's see what else we got here. Stay off the streets. Okay, I don't know if that's a reference for me staying off the streets. I do intend to, so thank you for your concern, freak. Like that. Selena's. Vancouver Island. I have always wanted to go to Vancouver Island. I have seen nothing but it just looks so beautiful up there. Oh, who else have we got? Hello, Surabrai. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your names, not saying it properly. Then the gangster serial killer hitman Robbie Lawler was chopped up. The guy was shot himself in Belfast. All right, you are coming in with all of the information, and I deeply appreciate it. Because, so my podcast, the reason I'm on here right now is on my podcast, Tender Loving Care, ? Which you can find Spotify, everywhere. I do, during the week, I do 3-4 episodes, and I cover the TLC shows, 90 Day Fiancé, The Other Way. So it's couples from America that will go over to, like, I have Iceland, Ireland, Malaysia, like all these different places for love. And they go over there and they're completely out of their element. They have all these secrets. Like, it's good. So you have that, and then I have a Patreon as well. So patreon.com/Tender Loving Care podcast. And in that, I do true crime. So I cover true crime cases. So I need to look up these ones that you're talking about, Vincent, because that sounds amazing. Okay, so I pronounce it Ray, and I am from England, but I'm currently sat here in Los Angeles. So I'm going to Neat. I bet you have many stories. Part of the feud, the emergency response Garda unit helped a different man who was kidnapped and tortured in a bathtub. They saved. You are coming in with all of the information. You need to email me at tenderlovingcarepod@gmail.com. tenderlovingcarepod@gmail.com. Yes, I'm in Los Angeles, and it's pitch black outside because it's currently 9:13 at night. Okay, guys, so I have everything set up. I have my little martini here. It's a gin martini, so really like old school martini. and I'm going to get into the episode. So even if you haven't watched this episode of this TV show I'm going to talk about, it's nuts. Like, it is a bizarro show about people just making terrible life decisions, which is obviously very entertaining for a lot of people. But it's like people running away for love and support, tender love and care. Thank you, Sunny. You can go and follow my podcast. So I'm going to get into it and start recording it. So anyone that wants to hang around, please do ask me questions. I will answer everything, and I'm going to get on and start recording the podcast. All right, let me start. I've got all my notes here that I'm going to talk about the show, and hopefully you enjoy it. All right, so let's get into it. I'm going to press record here. I like usually have a ton more equipment, but I just don't have it right now. Because I'm just doing it like bones, bare, basic, you know, kind of recording. So yeah, let's get into it. All right. Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Tender Loving Care with your British reality TV obsessed host, myself, Pauline Bithell. On Tender Loving Care, I cover the 90 Day Fiancé franchise from TLC, as well as covering all of the Real Housewives shows that are currently airing on Bravo, because we all know that these shows are truly the foundation of happiness. Hello guys, hello and welcome to the show. I'm currently recording from my kitchen. It's kind of boiling hot, but it's okay. I'm recording from my kitchen, and I am actually recording and streaming this live on YouTube channel. So if you don't already, go and follow the YouTube channel, Tender Loving Care Pod. Link is in my bio on my Instagram. The Instagram is Tender Loving Care Podcast. Go and follow me there. And I'm currently streaming on YouTube. So I am going to be recording the podcast and then looking up at my live screen just to see any comments that I'm getting on here about the shows while I'm recording. So I do want to start off by saying a massive, massive thank you, because this podcast, my podcast, was just nominated for an American Reality Television Award. So I'm really, really excited. I did mention it in the last episode, but if you haven't already, it would mean everything if you could go and vote for the podcast. So it's dead easy. You just go to theartas.com. So that's TheArtas.com. Just go there and go to vote, and then you will see the category for reality television podcasts. You will see my podcast, Tender Loving Care, and you can vote there. So it would be huge. I really don't think I'm going to win, because I'm in a category with huge podcasts, but it is really, really nice to even be nominated. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm still trying to figure out how I got nominated. I thought that with a lot of these, someone had to like suggest for you to get nominated or something like that, because, you know, the podcast is doing very well. We're in like 36 countries. So hello to everybody that's listening. But it was just such a surprise to be nominated with all of these people. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And let's get on with the show. So, all right, let me go to my notes here. And I am paying attention to my YouTube stream as well. I am looking at the comments. But my important job here is to regale you all with a telling of the latest episode, which is season 6, episode 9 of 90 Day Fiancé The Other Way. So for anybody that may be new to the podcast, anybody that is watching right now on YouTube on my live stream and wondering, well, what is this show? I don't know what you're talking about. Essentially, it is a show that airs every week over here in America, and it is part of this big franchise of shows, 90 Day Fiancé, and it is about people chasing love in other countries. And this particular show is about a group of Americans that have decided to fall in love with somebody else from another country. So in this episode, we have someone from America going to Iceland, Turkey, China, Indonesia, England, Drogheda in Ireland, and some of them are absolute Looney Tunes, which I really, really appreciate, and they're making terrible decisions. And then there are some people that are just chasing love, but are in an environment that they have no idea how to navigate. Jack Francis is leaving a comment on the live right now. Thank you, that's very complimentary, and I'm going to develop more content. I am trying. Thank you. All right. So we are going to start out, this is episode 9, and it is called Some Kind of Awful. All right, so let's start with Corona and Ingy. Corona is a 30-year-old woman from America who has decided, she met a guy in Iceland and she decided, that's it, I am giving up my entire life in America and I'm moving to Iceland. She doesn't really speak the language. She is 37, she's 30 and she's gonna go and be with Ingy, who's 37, who's never even had a proper relationship before. Interesting. And gonna go and move in with him, and she says, that's it, I'm all settled, I'm gonna live in Iceland now. Done deal. And in the past couple of episodes, she's shown a different side to herself. She has said that she's no longer soft partnering. So let me know if you know what soft partnering is, because essentially what she means is, I have shown you my normal side and now I'm going to show you my crazy side. So Ingy, the guy from Iceland, is in for it. So they start off with these beautiful, like picturesque scenes of Iceland, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And you know, there's snow and there's rolling hills and it's volcanic and it's just so gorgeous. I am going to be recording this podcast from Iceland one day. I've been there once before and it was amazing, but I am certain I need to go back because I'm falling in love with that. Okay, so we see all of this, and then it's the day that Corona is going to go and meet Ingy's parents for the first time. So she's incredibly nervous, and a big thing that Corona's worried about is Corona is black, and she's worried because she's like, his parents have never even met a black person before. So I'm really worried that I might be, you know, seen a certain way and I might be rejected, and I'm really worried. So she's like a ton of nerves, and she's like getting ready, she comes out and Ingy says, oh, you look beautiful, and she says, I'm really, really nervous, and Ingy just says this throwaway comment of, well, it's gonna be fine, it's all gonna be fine. And she just responds with, your blind optimism is infuriating. Like, she's so just angry at this guy for no reason. It's a lot to watch. Like, she turns like this quite a lot. Anyway, so she's like, you're just infuriating. They get in the car, she's super stressed out. They're going over to his brother Carl's house, but they pronounce it Carle's house. And she's met him before, gets on with him really, really well. And they go to the house and she's like, I'm nervous. All I know about the parents are that they're in their 80s and they're super conservative. And she says, and I'm a black girl coming from America to be with her Icelandic boyfriend. And I don't know what, I mean, this guy is 37 and has no idea what it's like to live with a woman or be in a relationship with a woman. And out of nowhere, they were like, they literally probably spent mere weeks together, and then she's like, all right, I'm just gonna leave my entire life and emigrate to Iceland. So he's I think he's in for a little bit of a shock. So the parents come in, and honestly everything went really well. They were very, very kind, and I think Corona was really, really shocked by that. She was like, they're so nice, and they brought her flowers, and the mother is called Inga, and then the father is called Hilar. My pronunciation is probably really, really bad, but that's what it was. And they were just so nice and so kind. And then they kind of are having drinks and they're having like some food, and they sit down, and the mother says to Corona, so, you know, how long are you staying for? And she said, well, forever, I'm here now. And the look on Ingy's face, I don't think this man fully realizes that she's left her life to go and live with him. I don't think he's clocked it properly. He looked as surprised as his mother did. And then she's saying in her confessional, I have told them, I thought Ingy had told them that I'm moving here, like forever. And he apparently didn't tell them because they didn't know. So she sat there feeling really awkward. And then the mother just goes, oh, well, you know, I do hope that, you know, we're going to get some grandchildren. We really, really want some grandchildren. So she's a little bit taken aback. And so is Ingy, who I don't think he even necessarily says he wants kids. These two people have just like come together, decided to make a life in this country, and I don't think really have many plans about how to do that. But you know what? Some people are just risk takers in life, and good for them. But they had only been dating for 4 months before she moved over to Iceland. All right, so that's kind of how it ended with those two. So let's go to our next couple, because this was insanely dramatic. So we have Shakina, who is 41. She's from Los Angeles. And then we have Sapa, who I think he's like 2 years. I think he's like 2 years older or younger. He is from Turkey. So Shakina's obviously in Turkey. We see the dog Adonis, who is so beautiful. And then they have this whole thing where they describe, we're really excited because we're going to go out for our birthday because we have the same birthday. We're just 2 years apart. Then they get in the confessional. The producer is like, so, okay, your birthday's on the 20th and your birthday's on the 21st. She's like, yeah, but we were born at exactly the same time. And because of the time zones, it was the same day. I kind of get how that makes sense, but I also think they kind of made that up. But you know, it's fine, it's fine. So they go out and they go to meet Sapa's family for dinner. It's very nice. The family seems very, very kind. And she explains to them, you know, that she's here permanently now in Turkey. And once again, this really unusual and extremely kind of expensive and awkward plan that she says, I'm going to spend 5 weeks in Turkey, fly back to America for 1 week, and then I will have, and then to see her daughter, and then the daughter has the summer off. So then she's like, and then she'll come over here for the summer or something. Didn't make a lot of sense at all, but that's what she's going with. So she's telling them more, and then Sapa decides this is the perfect time to tell them, actually, we have applied for the K1 visa in America. And they explain that, and Sapa's like, I don't want to go to America. He's like, but she has a child. We've applied for this visa, which would mean that we then go and get married, that we have 90 days to get married. So I don't know if this visa is going to come through. I don't know if they're doing this because they know they're going to be guaranteed another show, which I think is very likely, because Sapa's like, I don't want to leave Turkey. I didn't want to go there. So the parents then are worried. They said, we prefer if, you know, he had married somebody from Turkey as opposed to this. But she says, you know, I don't have any grandchildren. The parents like, I don't have any grandchildren. I want him to be closer to home. But so they discuss that. But then they say, well, Shakina, what does your family think about this? And we find out Shakina no longer speaks to her sister and no longer speaks to her family. We had seen the sister in a previous season, last season, in an episode where she came over to Turkey, and her and Sapa just did not get on, like, at all. The sister was looking to dislike Sapa, but he didn't do himself any favors, and they don't like each other. They don't get on, and so now she doesn't talk to any of the family. She doesn't talk to her sister. She doesn't talk to the mother. So it's really, really bad. So we see her talk about that, and she gets really upset, understandably. And then it kind of like finishes. Little do we know, we then hear a on the door, and we see, like, behind the scenes, she's called production back, and production is like being let into Sapa's apartment. And you see production like being dragged out the hotel beds, probably. They were like, yes, we finished shooting for the night. We can actually have a drink and relax and don't need to hang around with these ding-dongs anymore. And then suddenly she's crying, calling production, being like, you need to get back here. So they go over to Sapa's house, and Sapa and she's packing up her entire shit, like 4 suitcases, the dog, she's packing everything up, and she is saying, I'm leaving, I'm done, I'm leaving. So the production is like, well, what's going on? What happened? We don't understand. We left you having these birthday celebrations and you were all just so happy and cool. And then she starts talking about how this whole fight started over a vanity. And I thought she was meaning like he was accusing her of being vain. But what they were talking about was like a physical vanity set that you put in your bedroom. So apparently, like, she's crying. He's sat on a sofa. She's packing up all of her stuff. There's like 3 crew members here, like, that are recording and like taking, like, trying to get the story out of her. And she says, we had a really good time at the dinner. We're leaving, we're in the Uber, and Sapa starts saying to her, because they'd been to this furniture store the day before. This whole story is ridiculous. And he says, remember that vanity you wanted? I'm gonna buy it for you. I'm gonna buy that vanity, and you know, you don't need to worry about anything. I think this will be really good. And she responds, she kind of goes, I don't want it. I don't want this vanity. Don't bother. And apparently that's where the fight started. They just completely got into it. She says, we got home, we were screaming at each other. He then comes, I had my phone in my hand. This is what Shakina says. Shakina says, I had my phone in my hand. He goes to grab the phone and pulled like her hair, and she's hair extensions in, and the extension came out. So she's saying he pulled an extension out of my hair, and then he had my phone and wouldn't give it back to me. And so he's just sat on the sofa, and honestly, he looked wasted. I think both of them had like drinks in them. You know when you've been drinking and one little thing just gets magnified into something massive. It is so ridiculous. And she's saying, this is it. I don't want to see you again. She's packing all of her stuff up. She is grabbing the dog, and she's like, we're going. And he's like, I'm sorry, what season is the episode in again? Just back from a Che. Is that Martini you drinking? Do you just have any art or creative writing? Do you do any art or creative? Yes, I do, Vinton. So this episode I'm recording right now, it's airing in LA. You can also get it in England and in Ireland and in Europe. On, I don't know what channel it is, but it is season 6, episode 9 of 90 Day Fiancé The Other Way. Okay, so I haven't got onto the Drogheda guy yet, but I will get onto it. But I am currently talking about, let me get back to Shakina. And yes, you were talking, what else did you say here? I am drinking a martini, chin chin. And do I do any creative writing? Yes, I am actually a writer as well. So that's that. What I'm going to do though is, because I did want to respond to that, so thank you for asking. I need to go back and pause where I just got, because I'm recording this podcast right now. I'm not doing it with all my equipment. I'm doing it kind of bare bones, but I was recording and then I got distracted by your lovely question. So let me replay this. Art or creative writing. Yeah, I think I stopped her. Like, okay, this is it. I'm talking the dog, and she's like, we're going, and he's like, okay, he's like, yeah, I'm just getting into these two having a big fight, and then I'll get into the Drogheda couple, because I do have some questions that you may be able to answer for me. This guy, Sean, very interesting character, I'll tell you that, very interesting. Did I ask you where you're from in Ireland? Did you say? I don't know if you said where you're from, did you? Sorry if I missed that. I want to know whereabouts you're from, because I spent a lot of time in Ireland, a lot of time in Ennis, County Clare, a lot of time in Dublin, but I don't know if you said where you're from. Let me know where you're from. And then I'll get back into recording, because I do want to know. Oh, you are from Dublin. Sorry. Yeah, you're from Dublin. Okay, whereabouts? There's actually a case, like I said, on my Patreon, I do true crime cases, and there is a bizarre case that happened in Dublin of a guy that went missing. And I'm going to be covering it on my podcast, my Patreon episode. And it's such a strange case, I can't make head nor tails of it. And it's from, I wish I had the information. Basically, it is kind of well known if you follow missing cases. I'm sure you know it. It was a guy, he had a very kind of ordinary job working in IT. And he had just come back from a vacation, which was a bit unusual, over to, I think it was Canada, to meet a girl that he'd been talking to on the internet. and he came back, and I think it was around Christmas time. He had a Christmas party at work, and he goes to the Christmas party. Everything was normal. He was well liked. He had friends, and he God, it's so hot here. I can't explain how hot it is. I turned my air conditioning off and it's so hot. Anyway, he went to the Christmas party and then he left. Not unusually, I think the party was like wrapping up, and he left and he said, I need to go and do some work at the office or pick something up from the office that he'd left. And he goes back, this was in the centre of Dublin, and he goes back to the office and he has to get through security. You see him putting his like key card in through the gates, and he gets in there. The gate closes and you see this person dressed in black just waiting by the gates. And this guy's never heard from again. It is a bizarre story that's never been solved. But I'm currently just thought about it the other day, and I was like, that is a perfect true crime case for me to cover for the Patreon. So I need to get the name of that and get back on it, because it's so strange. He was a young guy, didn't have anything suspicious in his life, had a good job, but it was just this weird thing about him going to see this girl. Like, he went to it was someone he met off the internet, and then when he came back, he wouldn't tell people about what happened there. It was so odd and so suspicious. So yeah, that's that. Anyway, I'm gonna get back to the, here we go, south side Dublin. I won't say exactly, yeah, of course. Bit of a rough area, and it is the Trevor Keegan cold case. There you go, umbrella. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Was there any conclusion with that? I remember he had a sister. I believe this is just from when I remember I've read the case like twice, but I do have to go back and like research it all for the podcast. But I remember, I think it was he had a sister or something the family was on it, and they had private investigators. They were doing everything. And I can't remember if you see him leaving the office again, like through the gates. It didn't make any sense, but something I really wanted to be tied to this person he was speaking to in I think it was America or Canada. I swear it was like Canada. He went to go and see this woman, because he came back and he was very much like, I don't want to talk about it. But then people said that may have been because he went and just got disappointed, like the girl wasn't who she said she was, and he was embarrassed. But there were other conspiracy theories that because he was in IT, perhaps he had found something he shouldn't have, that somebody was kind of compromising him and his knowledge of what he knew with IT. It was all so strange. It was so strange. But you know what? I'm going to actually write that down now. You said it is Trevor Keegan. All right, let me write that down, because I have to do work on that. Trevor Keegan. Obviously, you get the footballer. Trevor Keegan, apparently he plays for... There's an American footballer called Trevor Keegan. He plays for Eagles. Okay, I'll just put Dublin. Don't think... He wasn't found, right? He said Trevor Keegan. I don't see him as that name. I'll put Dublin, banker, missing. Oh, Trevor Deely, nearly, thank you. Trevor Deely, that's it. It was the 8th of December, yeah. Irishman Trevor Deely disappeared in Dublin. Makes no sense. All right, I'm going to go down a wormhole of that. The Garda investigation. Crazy. Now, the Garda, the full name is Garda Síochána, right? Is that what it is? Or am I wrong? I'm sorry. I know, the only Gaelic I know is Kintalme, and that's it. Sorry. And it is Kintalme, and the answer is 937. Okay, the guards reopened the case, in the last few years, and they found a gun near the area he went missing, but it turned out the gun was from another crime, I think. He's never been found. Yeah, I think, you know what? There's the Irish Mirror. I've just pulled this up. I'm getting very off focus right now, but I don't care because this is so interesting. So the Irish Mirror was this December last year? Okay, new focus on mystery figure in decades-long missing persons case. The family of a missing man. Let's see if there's anything that they come up with that's new. He was only 22. God, that was 23 years ago this happened. Jeez, okay. They eliminated one mystery man who was seen walking behind Trevor from their probe, and now Trevor's family wants to identify another. His brother Mark revealed hopes that Trevor will return home alive one day by walking in the door. So sad and bizarre. We need everybody's help to find Trevor. 23. How can he just go? There you go. The CCTV mentioned of the shadow figure was haunting. Yeah, I've seen it before. And yeah, the full name is Keepers of the Peace. That's it. I get so much education. Thank you so much. I'm getting like a full-on education now. You just wonder, really, there's got to be just cases like this are always so fascinating. Because there's no logical answer. The CC footage, he was last seen walking down Haddington Road shortly after 4 in front of another man. But this man is no longer wanted by the Garda. Okay, so that's been cleared up. But then I think there was another guy. We still don't know who the person is or was outside of Trevor's work. He was like such an ordinary lad. Like there was nothing. Trevor's dad, Michael, is now in his 80s. His mum's in his 70s. What happened? If you've ever heard any footage, any kind of like conspiracy theories, I want to go down that hole of going down conspiracy theories of it, because I think it would be really, really interesting. It's wild. All right, I'm going to get back to record my podcast because I paused it to chat with you, Vinton. Thank you. That was really, really helpful and interesting. But I could literally talk about that. That needs to be like another stream where I just talk about that for like a good hour, because I really, really could. This martini is really good. All right. Okay. So let me continue with this. I'm just finishing off on one crazy couple, and then I'm going to go to the Irish guy. All right. So where are we? So let me go back here to my notes. Sorry if this doesn't make sense to anybody that doesn't watch this show, but it's the potty, so I'm going to carry on. All right. So we've got Sapa again. So yeah, Sapa's just sat on the sofa and he doesn't really know what's going on, and he just looks drunk. Well, he looks drunk, and he's kind of like just watching a pack all the suitcases up. And this is a couple that have been together for years, long distance in England, and then in America and in Turkey. And now they're just like, she's like, fuck it, I'm packing everything up and I'm just gonna go. So she kind of packs, you see her pack everything up. He's like, go back to your parties in LA. That's what you want to do. And she's just like, believe whatever you want. And then she gets in the car and she explains that he started to like completely gaslight her by saying to her, like they were fighting, and he grabbed the phone out of her hand, pulled her hair where she had a hair extension in, and then pulled part of her hair extension out. And she says, give me back my phone. And he's going, I don't have your phone. And she's like, you just pulled it out my hand. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. That type of gaslighting drives me nuts. Like, and she's just like, you just grabbed out my phone. He's like, no, I didn't grab your phone. And then eventually gives it back to us. So anyway, then we kind of wrap that up with seeing her in her hotel room with her dog, miserable, just being like, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't really ever want to see him again. And she's moved her entire life to Turkey, and they've been together for like 6 years, and they're fighting over whether to buy furniture or not. And this is how it ends up. All right, so let's go over to Ireland. Let's go over. All right. So the whole story between Sean and Joanne is an interesting one. Sean is from Drogheda, and he is 28 years old. And he says, this is his words, not mine, but he says, I'm not a typical Irishman. He's like, I don't drink. He's like, I don't drink, and the only women I'm attracted to are older Italian American MILFs. That's who he's attracted to. So I don't think there should be a stereotype of what Irish people are or Irish lads are, but he says that's who he is. Fair enough. So he's 28, Joanne is 43. They met because Joanne is crazy, because Joanne was doing tarot card readings online. He got a reading from her. They started speaking, they fell in love. She's got 2 kids, divorced, and very much that, you know, kind of, she's from Long Island, jet black dyed hair, Italian American, and he's a young lad, tatted up, and he's like full into, does a ton of boxing, very, very fit guy. He has a daughter, and he said they fell in love. She has come over to Ireland 3 times to see him. First time she comes over, you know, they said they just fell in love and everything was like amazing, and they decided to get married. So they've now been together for 3 years. They got married and told no one, including his child and her children. She has 2 kids, like teenage boys, and she didn't tell them that she's married. So this trip, she's leaving Long Island to go back to Dublin, and she said, I've already kind of, not to Dublin, to Drogheda. She's like, I've already decided what I'm going to do. I'm going back, and I am going to hope that the boys really like Sean. Tell them, surprise, we're actually married. This is your stepfather. And second surprise, I'm going to be moving over here. And I will be coming back to see you every couple of weeks. It's an insane kind of situation, just like Sapa and Shakina, this going back and forth. I don't get it. So we start the episode with Joanne packing everything up in Long Island. And she is packed and ready to go to Ireland, and her boys are there, and her boys have zero idea that they're about to go and meet this guy that is already their stepfather. No clue. So these boys have never even left America before. So they're packing up, they go, and she says, this will be the last time that I'm just visiting Ireland, because next time I'll be going to live there forever with my boys. But they don't know that yet. So they get on the plane, they go there, and then she's going with her friend Noelle, and Joey, who is her oldest son, he's like a teenager, I think he's like 15 or something. He's like, I feel a ton of pressure, you know, I don't know. And then this friend Noelle is like, I'm going to be spying and figuring out whether this is going to be a good relationship or not. And Joanne's going to be staying longer in Ireland, so she's going to be flying back with the boys to America. So they get on the flight. They're flying across the Atlantic, and then we see Sean in Ireland, and he's getting ready to welcome Joanne and the boys. And he's super, super nervous because obviously these are stepkids that he's never met. He's never even been to America. It's just her going over to Ireland all the time, which is also really strange that he's never been there. And we find a little bit more out about him. He has his daughter Bella, and he split up with Bella's mum when I think he said the daughter was very young, like 6 years old. And he said, we just decided it would be better that she would live with me. So he has full custody of this little girl that he looks after. And there's never any mention of what he does for work. It's so bizarre. You just see shots of him constantly in a gym boxing. And it doesn't say that he's like competes. It doesn't say that he teaches. He does it. It's just, what does he do? I don't understand how he earns money. It's really, really strange. And I need to get to the bottom of that. And he says, oh, I don't really work a 9 to 5. I just look after my daughter full time. Well, how does he pay bills? So confused by it, so confused. Anyway, we see little Bella, and she looks like a lovely little girl that's really fond of her dad. And she doesn't know that this woman is actually going to be a stepmother coming off the plane. He says, I've just told Bella that, you know, she's just a friend of mine. That's all, just a friend of mine. So they get to the airport, they're at Dublin Airport, and they come out, and he's like really overwhelmed and really happy to see them, and he goes and greets the boys, and I think the boys are kind of excited to meet him, and they come out, and they're just like, they get to the car, and they pack all the luggage in, and they start driving to his house or wherever they're going to stay, because there's like 6 of them. And they say in their confessionals, they're like, yeah, this is a big trip because, you know, we have to tell 3 children that, you know, we've basically been lying to them for, you know, 3 years, and that they have step parents, and that I'm gonna, you know, that Joanne is gonna completely turn her life upside down and move to another continent and see her boys like a couple of times a month. It is such a bizarre situation. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, I don't know how. I mean, look, if you are single and you're making these type of decisions, I understand not having a ton of forethought, perhaps. If you're single and you don't have pets, you don't have a house, you know, you don't have all these huge commitments and kids. Yeah, you can go and make stupid mistakes and take risks, but this woman has 2 kids and she's like, yeah, I'm just gonna move to Ireland, so that's just what's gonna happen. It's so weird. It's so weird. It really is. And listen, I understand wanting to move to another country, and especially Ireland's so beautiful and the people are so amazing. I get it, but geez, it's bizarre. All right, so the only other couple that we have to cover in this, and then we will wrap this up, is, let me see, who have we got left? Oh, it's my favorite, Statler and Dempsey. So unfortunately, I'm looking for more drama with them, as you know, and I know it's going to end up in drama because they break up and then they have like they just have a massive fight and they're no longer speaking. But this point, Statler, it's their first night, they're waking up, you know, Statler's moved from America over to England, they're going to be touring all of Europe in this van. Statler's 33, Dempsey's 29. Dempsey is used to all of this life on the road, Statler is not, and it's their first night waking up in the van. And I just wrote, love's young dream. They really are. Statler couldn't be more miserable if she tried. So anyway, she's there, and the first night, she says, we were so exhausted, we didn't have sex, like we were too tired. So you see them like getting up in the morning, and Statler just looks miserable. She's like, I've just realized what I've done. I've left my entire comforts and my entire home in America to go and live in a van going across Europe, which to a lot of people sounds like heaven, but Statler needs a bathtub. She needs a big place. She needs like all this comfort. And she's now realizing that she has to work and live in this van space. And Dempsey's just like, la la la, it's all gonna be fine. And she makes some tea, and then they spit it out because it's made from like the sewage, something with the water or the sewage. I don't know. It just it made me ill. It made me ill. So they open some champagne instead to start the day, which I thought was fabulous, and have a Bucks Fizz. So if you don't know, a Bucks Fizz is a mimosa. So in England, we call it a Bucks Fizz, champagne and orange juice. So they have that. And then they're really weird. They like take photos like, oh, it's our first day of traveling and this whole new life together. And then they're like, and it was like nice champagne. It was Veuve Clicquot. And they take a sip of it and then like, yeah, I don't want this anymore. Just tip it down the sink. They're so odd, these two. I don't get it. Not just wasting the champagne, but that was annoying. So they're planning on driving all the way down to the south of England. Then they're going to go across France and Switzerland and all of this. And Dempsey doesn't work. She has given up work, and Statler has to be the main person that's bringing the money, and she works remotely. So we'll see how that happens, because it's slowly dawning on her. I have to sleep in this van, cook in this van, eat in this van, live in this van, and work in this van. And it's the size of a box. And it's starting to get to her. But they're driving down the English countryside. They're seeming happy. And then we see next week, which I love because we're going to get into the drama, Dempsey reveals, Buckfast, it's not Buck Fizz. What? Remember Buckfast, LOL, it's not Buck Fizz. What? I'm just pause the podcast again, Finton. So like for breakfast, are you trying to, I'm sorry, this is going over my head a little bit. In England, we call it Bucks, you're making fun, right? I'm sorry, I'm not very, it's late here, I'm not, I'm not with it. But Bucks Fast. Oh, so it would be like for breakfast. But in England, we call it Bucks Fizz. Sorry, this is going over my head. I'm probably sounding really stupid right now, sorry. And I'm only on my first martini, apologies. It's no Bucks Fizz, it's Buckfast. Okay, I kind of like that. I like that. I like it. I like it, Finton. Okay, I've nearly finished recording my podcast, so hold that thought. I'm going to... Where am I?
LOL, it's not Buck.
Okay, I'm like having to go back on my podcast. See.
It's not Buckfez. Dempsey reveals,
Yeah, okay, that's it. That was just me playing back as I record my podcast so I can get to the right point. Oh, but first is another drink that's cheap from what I remember. Oh, got it, okay. Yeah, I don't know what buckfast, I never heard of that. But you know, I'm sure I've drank it. I'm sure I've drank it in the day. I'm sure I have. All right, I'm gonna wrap up this little bit of the podcast, and then I will be free to chit chat about Bucks Fizz or anything anybody else wants to make talk about. All right. She's like, oh, I forgot to tell you, Statler, that I actually have money saved. I sold my car and I have leftover money. And Statler's like, I bought this entire van, or I put more money into this van than you did because you said you didn't have any extra money. And also the van is only in your name. And Dempsey's just like, yeah. She's like, you scamming me. So there's going to be a ton of drama in the next episode, which I'm very much looking forward to, I will tell you. But that's been Statler's complete concern the entire time, that like, I'm going to get scammed by Dempsey. And then she went, we know currently she went on social media to just say how Dempsey is the worst person in the world, that she scammed her with money, that she was cheating on her, that the van is solely hers, and just all of this shit. It is crazy. But I'm really looking for, I want Statler, I've said to you guys before, I want Statler and Dempsey in every single episode because they are chaos. They are hectic and I love all of it. And I'm very interested to see what happens with Sha and Joanne. 43, he's 28, there's 3 kids involved, she's gonna move to this country. I don't know what's going on. I really don't. And I want to see more scenes of Iceland because Iceland is so amazing. All right, so I'm going to wrap up this episode, guys. It has been such a dream to chat about these ding-dongs with all of you. Thank you so much for your support. And once again, I am just going to plug, because why not, voting for my podcast. If you go to I'm nominated for an American Television Reality Award. If you go to The Artist, THEARTAS.com, you go to vote and go along until you find reality podcast, and you will see me there, and just give a vote to Tender Love and Care, which is the name of my podcast. You can always find me on Instagram on Tender Loving Care Podcast. And where else can you find me? You can email me at tenderlovingcarepod@gmail.com. And wherever you listen to this, Spotify, iTunes, anywhere else, wherever a country, whether it's Denmark, who we've been really high in the charts in Denmark recently, so thank you, Denmark. We're also in South Korea, has been having quite a few downloads as well. So I've no idea how you're finding the podcast, but thank you, thank you, thank you. Your support means everything. You can probably hear there is a helicopter circling now. Welcome to Los Angeles. All right, I love you lots and jelly tots, and bye-bye. Whew. Okay, that is the podcast finished. We have finished recording the podcast. So I do this podcast I record four episodes a week. So I do 3 episodes a week covering these shows on that are like the Real Housewives and then the TLC shows. And then I also record a Patreon episode, which is just $5 a month. And on there I do pure true crime. It's so much fun. You can go to patreon.com/tenderlovingcare. What else we got here? It's what teenagers drink. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I don't know that at all. I don't know that. But there's something else I wanted to see that you said. A documentary mentioned a small note about him owing drug money, but it was a loose end there. Yeah, I know. I think I remember that. It was I don't know if you are familiar with Mike, the very, very popular YouTube channel, That Chapter. And he's from Dublin, and his YouTube channel is huge, and he has a podcast as well, and he covers true crime. He's brilliant, and he covered that story. And I think I remember him mentioning a note about drug money, but this guy just seemed like so sensible. Yeah, That Chapter is very good. It's so good. That guy, Mike, talk about the gift of the gab, the Irish. It isn't a joke. It isn't a stereotype. It's just, I'm telling you, he just is able to tell a story so well. And it's very enticing, and he has done so bloody well with that chapter. It's crazy. He said he started it. He was doing, I listened to an episode of him recently, and he said that he had a dead ordinary job, and he was in like marketing or something, and then went to go and get a master's in marketing, and realized, I fucking hate marketing. I don't want to do this. And so he's like, he started to just do it on the side, and before he knew it, it became as huge as it is now. I mean, he's done, it's wild. It's really, really wild. Here's to hoping my podcast and YouTube channel is the same. Do you watch English true crime? I'm curious and spiritual. No, I do not know that on YouTube. Is English true crime curious and spiritual? Like, I'm looking that up right now, because no, I don't, and I want to. Go to YouTube. By the way, I should also say, if you have not subscribed, can you please subscribe to my channel? Thank you. Let's have a look. Oh, that's weird. I'm going on to my YouTube on my laptop, and I'm seeing me live. It's weird. Curious. Let's have a look. There we go. Curious and spiritual. Dark true crime. Oh, here you go. Oh my god, that... I literally nearly collapsed. Oh my god, did you see my face? That noise came from nowhere, and it's like their preview.
In today's episode, we take a look at True Story. How young Carthy...
Holy shit, I nearly got a bloody heart attack. Oh, that came out of nowhere. I am like, it's night, and I am next to a really big window, and I'm... That was a lot. But how... God, this looks right up my alley. Thank you so much for suggesting some subscribing right now. Oh, this is right up my alley. Absolutely. Videos. How long have they been getting? They've got 62. Wow, 62,000. Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. I forgot about... Yeah, that scared me. God, it's good. They cover a lot. Salford crime boss, known as Vlad the Impaler. Police describe gang as real layer cake. Holy shit. Yeah, see, it looks like he covers, I think it's a guy, right? Covers things that people... I love it when, because listen, it's so easy. We can all, on my Patreon, like I said, I do true crime, but it's so easy to say, oh, I'm going to do one about Jack the Ripper. I'm going to do one about Ted Bundy or Dharma, but they have been written about and spoken about ad nauseum. There is nothing more you can talk about when it comes to Dharma. There's nothing. There's nothing more that you can talk about when it comes to Bundy. There just isn't. You watched the Vlad one last week, and he does get unique ones, yeah. And that's what you need, because it is really tiring when you kind of, they just go over the same shit again. Like, we need these really obscure kind of crimes and weird mysteries. And I try to focus on that. I have some really good ones on my Patreon, some cases that not a lot of people know about. Well, I wouldn't say not a lot of people know about, but they're just not the most common ones. Counterline battle for Blackpool. Holy shit. Don't know why anyone's fighting over that. Sorry. I can say that in English, that's right. His crew went against a Glasgow Somali outfit. Holy shit, my mum's from Glasgow, so that will be interesting. And my mum was from a very, very challenging part of Glasgow, should we say. Interesting. God, there's a really load of good stuff on her. The wrong man to rob, he would exact a swift revenge. Holy moly. God, thank you so much. I feel like I'm going to go down a wormhole with this, and then with Trevor Dealey as well. I've got a lot to do. I've got a busy night. But what I am going to do is go over to my Twitch channel, and I realise everyone from my dad's side lives in Kent. Where you hail from? I can't pin you. Oh, I'm from Oxfordshire. So I've been in America a long time. I've been in America about like 15 years. So I mean, I go back as often as I can, but obviously my accent is a little twinge, I'm sure it does. And I lived in Australia for a bit as well. But I'm from Oxfordshire, so about 50 miles west of London. And the biggest town is Reading. So everyone knows Reading for Reading Music Festival. That's where I'm nearest. I would say near Reading, but just outside there. Yeah, that's where I'm from. So your dad lives in Kent. Yep. Not that far at all. We're all in a tiny, tiny area compared to America. Like, this place is so massive. It's insane. It really is. When you say someone's, you know, because you go from, I mean, to fly from here, where I am, LA, all the way over to New York. I mean, it's 7 hours. It's like flying, and then flying from New York to London, or say New York to Dublin, is less time than flying from Los Angeles to New York. It's crazy. This country is huge. Yeah, it's got 3 different time zones. It's nuts. All right, I'm gonna go over to I heard it there when you said years from Oxford. Yeah, people say Aussie. I think the reason is Aussie because I have a I mean, I was only in Australia for a year. So it's not I mean, it picks up, whatever, but that was years and years ago. But I think being here, I curl, you know, I curl some of my accent. So that American curl mixed with an English can sound a little Aussie. But, you know, if I put in an Aussie accent, which I love to do often, it's not very good. But, you know, they kind of talk like this, you know, they're all you know, they're very like loose with the way they talk, you know. And everything is kind of like a question when they're Australian, you know. They're kind of like, everything is always like, what are you doing? You know, so it's kind of different. It's definitely different to how I speak, but you know, it's fine. I've lived in many places, so it's okay. I think I'm going to go over to Twitch now because I am on YouTube and I'm really trying to build this YouTube channel. That's spot on. Thank you. I try. I would try my Irish, but I think it's good when I've had a couple of drinks of me, but it's not good. It's really shameful. So I'd never do it in front of an Irishman. Never. But I want to perfect it one day. So I am going to go over to my Twitch channel now. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. And Finton, thank you so much as well for just giving me all that info. Like, shit, you've given me a new YouTube channel to watch and get obsessed with. You've given me tons of information on Trevor Neely, and that I'm going to look into and be obsessed with now for the next like 2 weeks. That's what I do. I get a case and then I'm like obsessed with it for 2 weeks. So I'm going to do that. And this is my first time doing a live, and it was really fun to be able to speak to people and just fab, wonderful. And you know, I think what's really fun as well doing anything like this is being able to speak to people from all over. Like, I love it. Like, on the podcast, I have listeners in South Korea, I have listeners all over Europe, all over America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand. And I think essentially why I'm doing all of this is purely so I can get tons of places to stay for free around the world. So just continue. That I'm not doing it for the love of art. I'm not doing it for the love of what I do. No, it is purely to get free places to stay. And there's no shame in that. There is no shame in that. All right. Did you see that lovely wink? It's a horrible wink. How are you supposed to wink? So okay. I never understood people that could wink really cutely, like, I don't understand how people do that. It's more like, all right, I'm going to go to Twitch. So if you have not already, if you could please like and subscribe and hit I think it's the bell, all right, on YouTube. Getting used to it all. Smash that, what do they say? They're all like, smash that bell or whatever, I know. If you could subscribe, if you could like this, send a little thumbs up and subscribe, and follow Instagram, Tender Loving Care Podcast. You can email me at tenderlovingcarepod@gmail.com. And I'm going to go to Twitch, and on Twitch, my link is Polly the Brit, Polly the Brit, and I'm going to go live there. because I said I was going to do that a little bit later. So I'm kind of just going to be hopping around doing live stuff on YouTube, doing live stuff on Twitch, and obviously doing the podcast 4 times a week. So yeah, it's just been really, really fun chatting to everybody, and thank you so much. And Finton, I hope you join again, and I'm going to figure out how I exit out of this. But thank you, chin chin everyone. You've been amazing. This has been so cool, and we recorded another episode of the poddy. All right, bye-bye. I'll see you over on Twitch. Go on to Twitch, Polly the Brit.